So, as I said, today was the first day of my Python Basics Bootcamp, first time that I've done it outside of corporate America, and I'm stoked because when I was doing it for corporate America, I could put everything about Python that I knew, just about some things I would leave out, but basics of Python I could put down into about an hour's time. I'd be really fast. It'd be a lot of information, and if you know anything about education, most people do not have a memory where they see it or hear it just once and then they know it. You actually have to implement, you have to put the work in, right? That's kind of one of the benefits of going to college is having being forced to sit down and put in that time to do it. So I was able to do that with this boot camp, which is why it became from 1 hour of training to 3+ weeks of training and implementation. So if that's something that you're interested in, or just want to see more updates from me, either about programming or maybe even digital marketing, as you've probably read from this scrolling text right here, then definitely join me on my Discord. I would suggest any of my groups that I'm part of, but with social media as it has been, those are not always, what's the word, reliable avenues for communication. So with Discord, if you haven't heard about it, I absolutely love Discord. There's so many wonderful things you can do with it. It has bots, it has all kinds of stuff, but it's going to be the best way for you to get updates, ask questions, find community amongst the things that I'm creating. So definitely check out that Discord when you have it. So as I said, today was the first day of that training, and I realized that even though I had all the basic Python training ready to go and all that, unless the students were set up beforehand, it was a lot more difficult this go around to make sure that everything went smoothly, which is fine, right? And I did attempt to get my students set up beforehand, but schedules don't always work that way. So lesson learned was to create trainings for this, what I'm about to share with you right now. No, what is that? Jupyter Notebook. When I worked at Cisco, I was there for about 7 years, and throughout my time there, I was not only a Python trainer and mentor, I was also working in the data science area. I got what was basically their certification for an entry data science personnel, and I was introduced to a tool called Jupyter Notebook. They basically think of Jupyter Notebook as a way to create documentation or code that you can actually code in. And in fact, that's how I do most of my trainings these days. I actually create Jupyter Notebooks. I have the content to read. I might embed a video of some sort, but I also create portions for my students to actually implement what they're learning. So what does that look like? Let me go ahead and share my screen and I shall show you. So what you see here is a Windows command prompt. At the top, you see that I have changed directory. Oops, change directory into my basically where my projects are. And oh, I moved around a little bit. That's fine. I guess I was actually I was going to share. So I was going to show you something specific in regards to test, but I got ahead of myself. That's why I moved it to my other repo. All right. Why am I here? Because I have a Jupyter Notebook to share with you. So when you have installed Jupyter Notebook, if you have Python already installed, you'll just do pip install notebook. Very simple. Now, you may come across where this next command line won't work for you, and then you'll have to do python-m notebook, but I don't know what the difference is, why sometimes this has to happen this way and sometimes it's something different. As my students found out today, but that's just how it is sometimes. So most likely it was a local environment that wasn't set up. All right, so once you have Jupyter Notebook installed, whatever folder you want to go in your command prompt, you type Jupyter Notebook. And what this does is it does some fancy stuff in the back end. It starts running its processes and it creates a socket to be able to do some stuff on your local machine. Now, all that mumbo jumbo to mean, once it eventually finishes, there is stuff, right? You see that over here, there is stuff. This is just telling you that this is where my notebook is running from. This is how to stop the server that's happened. Looks like my Jupyter client needs to be updated. So just some pieces. And then this is what actually opens up. So it creates in your default web browser the local host and whatever you open with. So the folder that I opened has these 3 files, a README and 2 Python files. Well, what I'm sharing with you today is Jupyter Notebook. So first of all, this is the Jupyter layout. This is the fun stuff. You just click on New, and then depending upon what interpreter you have for a language, like I could have other stuff in here, not just Python 3. But I'm going to have Python 3 because that's what I'm teaching right now in my bootcamp. So I create a new Python 3 notebook. It's going to look like what it's going to look like in just a second. Are you going to do this again? Okay, so this happened as well during my boot camp. Like technology, come on, technology. Is there like some major cosmological thing happening going on? It's the only thing I can think of. Because this had to restart my computer, middle of class. It was great. It's not great. Thank you, my students, for your patience today. All right, well, it said new. Python 3. All right, did something break? No. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, well, that's interesting. Yay, technology. So we'll just grab this first untitled one, open it up. There we go. Now it's coming in. I've been in support forever and coding forever. It's just ridiculous. All right, so let's just say that you are creating an assignment, like a calculator. We'll just call it that because there's a reason for that. All right, so this is what it looks like. They have several different boxes. So you have code, markdown, raw, and convert heading. I mostly use code and markdown. If I am trying to leave some type of conversation or discussion here, I use markdown technology in order to do something like, you know, headline 1, whatever stuff, whatever, right? And I'll put in here whatever I need to in order to put across what's necessary for whatever it is that I'm sharing. So when you run these cells, I don't know what it's like in a Mac, but on a PC, Shift Enter, it runs the cell. It now turns it into a nice line, which you can actually link to these places, which is really nice. Really nice. This is the code part. So it is already running in a Python interpreter, as it were. So if I wanted to go like Python version, oh, I'm silly. It's just this. Whatever. There. You know that it's working. There's a specific way to pull version from Jupyter Notebook. So there's some differences from using an actual Python interpreter. But anyway, you can use this to actually write your code. And in fact, when I was working at Cisco, there was an internal tool for education that I helped kind of fix. There were some things that weren't working as they should have been. And so I used this to kind of reverse engineer what was going on and then fix it and then take this and basically rewrite the code. So in this particular instance, so let's say there's a calculator, right? And you want to run this. So you could have user input is equal to, oops, not a plus, input needs response, whatever, right? So when you run this should work here. Yeah. So just a bunch of letters. Oh, and it responded, right? So it ran the input function first, which was the request of the input, and then we return the data that user input points to, which is this string character here. So this is how you can um, start using Jupyter Notebook as your code. So if you are just starting out in Python and you're not used to any of the interpreters, like, excuse me, the IDEs like PyCharm, Atom.io, GitHub Desktop, Jupyter Notebook is a really simple way to start using it immediately and test it line per line and do all kinds of stuff. So this is not going to be a full training on Jupyter, but I thought this would be helpful, especially for my students who um, I had to gloss over some things today. And so that is it for now. So let me make sure I covered my notes for that. Yep. All right, awesome. So if you would like to learn more about how to program, how to get some cool tips and tricks like this, be sure to join me in my Discord. I am currently in the middle of my Python Basics Bootcamp, but another one will be opening up in December, and you will hear about it first in my Discord server. So hopefully I will see you there. And if not, I will be sharing more about this in the weeks to come. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful and prosperous rest of your day. And I will see you in the next one. Happy coding.